It's just a big habit to implement. It encompasses every minute of your day, and you start looking at your day so much differently. One of the cool things we do is we don't just show you how to do a pretty plan. If you're not taking action, that doesn't matter. It's more about becoming self-aware of where you're actually spending your time and just changing that mindset of how you think about your day and every interaction you have throughout the day.
Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. And let me ask you a question. Do you have any challenges? I ask people all the time, what is your biggest challenge right now? I'll ask you, what is your biggest challenge right now? Think about it a second. What's your biggest challenge, like the biggest challenge right now? Whatever you're thinking, I have the answer. And you're going to learn that today. How cool is that? That's like a magic trick, isn't it? Whatever your challenge is, I'm going to give you the answer today, and I'm going to get a lot of help from a couple of people who are going to give you that answer today. So I'm excited about today's podcast. You're going to learn something new today. I can't wait for you to learn it, but I'm going to force you to wait just a little bit so that I can give a shout out, first of all, to Krishna Sindalaria, who writes, wanted to take a moment to thank you for jumping on the Zoom 7L book club. The best part for me was dreams, which is the nightly routine that I teach, and how to evaluate. That's the E in dreams, by the way. That makes sense, yeah? You putting the many sides of yourself into 7L about being a genuine human being in business has helped me substantially and brought passion back into my world of sales. So, Krishna, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And the call to action for everybody right now is, listen, if you have not signed up for RMS 2024 yet, like, you're doing not only yourself a disservice, you're doing your friends and family a disservice. You need a focus for your repeat and referral business. And we have the solutions. In September, I'm going to give you not one, but two 52-week plans for your database, but we're not going to stop there. We're also going to give you a weekly plan for your fourth quarter to finish strongest and to maximize your referrals in the fourth quarter of this year. But that's not it. You sign up now, you're going to get all kinds of cool things in May, in June, in July, and August before the event ever occurs. So sign up now, you get more goodies. If you sign up in July, you're not going to be getting the April, May, and June goodies. So we give gifts every month. We love you. We appreciate you. Use the code RMSMAY, RMSMAY, for $500 off your ticket. Come on now, right? That's an awesome price. Make it happen. RMS May. Make sure you use that for the promotional code at rms2024.com. Join all of your friends at Referral Mastery Summit in September 27th through the 29th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the beautiful Omni downtown Centennial Park location. Beautiful hotel, beautiful people, all working on a beautiful business. Doesn't get any better than that. Speaking doesn't get any better than that. I'm not sure if it gets any better than our guests today. Today we've got Karla Roberdeau. Holy cow. Reputation as a keynote speaker, trainer, and business coach is well-deserved. By the way, she's been on several times. Come on. She is a certified referral trainer and business coach affiliated with Michael J. Maher, the 7 levels of communication, and the Referral Mastery System. This certification attests to her expertise in helping individuals and businesses develop effective referral strategies, build meaningful relationships, and elevate their communication skills. And not only is she a CRT, she's also a CRC, Certified Referral Coach. And our second guest today is Tausha Blaksley and is a teacher at heart. She loves educating people about home ownership. She's been a licensed realtor since 2017 in the lovely Tacoma, Washington area. Outside of real estate, she created a group called Sisters in Success for men. I'm just kidding. It's for women in her area to motivate and inspire each each other. Tausha is also a mom to 2 amazing children. Without further ado, first of all, let's welcome back Karla to Referrals Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back.
And welcome Tausha for the first time ever, our guest here on Referrals Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I promised earlier a pretty big thing that, like, whatever their biggest challenge is, we're going to solve it today. So let's step by step, like, through what we think could help every single listener that is listening to Referrals Podcast. Karla, I'm going to start with you. So first of all, you teach a class called Time Mastery Class. So what made you decide to teach Time Mastery Class?
Well, honestly, I have 2 reasons for that. And the first one is 99.999% of our issues comes down to time mastery. And in this beautiful world of real estate, there's so many shiny things that want to take our attention off of what we should really be focused on. And so it's just a way for us to get back to focusing on what we should be doing. And secondly, it's for a selfish reason, because I know it's something you can always improve on and you never perfect it. And so every time I teach it, I just level up my game as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember Gary Keller asking me on stage, I have all these rituals, all these strategies, all these systems. And he said, poof, I took them all away. What is the one that you're going to fight the hardest for? What's the one that you really hope that you know so you can implement it first? Like, what's the one you're going to fight the hardest with me to keep? And it was time blocking, right? It was because once you know time blocking, you can solve all of the other problems. And I love that. So Tausha, how long have you been a real estate agent?
So I just hit my 7 years in April.
Very cool. And you just joined RMA, Referral Mastery Academy, in January of this year. What made you decide to jump into that?
So I actually joined because I read the 7 Levels of Communication in a book group, and the how you do your events. I wanted to learn how to do that. So my secret was that I was just going to join for a month and then quit.
Nice. Take advantage of me, Tausha. I freaking love it.
I didn't know anything about all the stuff you did. So
yeah.
Obviously didn't quit. I'm still here because it's amazing. So,
well, I love that you're in. And the other thing that I love is that is honestly the path for so many people that are in RMA is they read the book and they're like, all right, what's next? And then they join and then they learn. We're either teaching time mastery, event mastery, BAM, SAM. We're teaching something. And they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was part of it. So they get into it. And then pretty soon they're doing all of it. Right. So I love that. And all right. So what made you decide to do time mastery class? Because there were a couple of, that could have been a lot very quickly because we had BAM going on and we had time mastery class going on. Did you choose one or did you do both?
I did both, but I didn't participate in BAM. I really didn't.
Yeah. So you focused on time and that is literally how RMA is built. Perfect. You can observe one and you really dove deep and you're one of the stars of time mastery class. So what made you decide to take that?
Because I'm the queen at sticky notes all over my desk, and it was not a system that was working well for me.
Yeah. So Karla, what would you say the number one goal is for time mastery class?
It's simple. Just we find people where they're at and we help them double their time in the influential.
Yeah. So Tausha's sitting out there. She's got checklists. She's got, these beautiful things, right? I happen to use them for power notes, but occasionally I will write a note to myself. So Tausha, listen, it's okay to have Post-its. It's okay. Right. So you met her where she's at with the Post-it note world. And now we can kind of, what did you do with the Post-it notes now that you've been through time? I got to ask, right? Because I need to know what to do with this one. Are you still doing Post-it notes or are you doing something different?
Well, because I've read your book, I put them inside of my note cards. Because
there you go.
Right. Mastery.
There you go. And so so you took time mastery. Did you do anything different with the Post-it notes, or are you still using the Post-it notes in a different way? I am genuinely curious about that.
No, I'm using them inside the note cards only. I'm not using them to write my schedule.
All right. I see what you're saying. All right. Okay. So you've gone from using the Post-it notes where then you can't find the Post-it note that you're looking for, right? To a more organized approach. And I am curious, are you using electronic or are you using paper?
So I got the electronic version today. I'm excited to start implementing that. So I think I was one of their OCD students, but I downloaded a PDF where I could journal write. So I did it on my tablet and would write in it daily, but that method was not the greatest. So I'm excited to implement the PDF where I can type in it.
Yeah, love that. So, all right. What was maybe your biggest obstacle for implementing what you learned in time mastery, or what seemed to be the biggest kind of the biggest leap for you from time mastery class?
It's now, actually, and it's the not having accountability, because I'm finding myself not doing it because I no longer have Karla and Neil to upload my document to every day. So she had emailed me the other day saying, I miss you. How is it going? Just checking in on me. And I was like, it forced me into, I got to do it because she just checked on me. So I've done it for the last 3 days now.
It's great to have a coach. Would you agree? Right. It does. Well, I mean, Karla, that what have you seen as the biggest obstacle for people to implement what they learn in class? What have you seen as their biggest obstacle?
Well, I think one of the biggest obstacles is it's just a big habit to implement. It encompasses every minute of your day, and you start looking at your day so much differently. One of the cool things we do is we don't just show you how to do a pretty plan. Like, if you're not taking action, that doesn't matter. It's more about becoming self-aware of where you're actually spending your time, and just changing that mindset of how you think about your day and every interaction you have throughout the day. And it takes people a little bit of time to hop on board and start using the system.
This is so profound. I hope everybody heard what Karla just said, because that is sometimes I just kind of wonder, why does time mastery class work so well for the people who dive in and do it? And you hit it on the head, I think. I've taken a lot of time management classes. I took No BS for time management. I've taken Stephen Covey's stuff. I've taken the Franklin Planner stuff. I've taken a lot of stuff. And the thing that was so hard, first of all, they tried to force us to use their planner in some cases. And that was just like round peg, square hole, whatever it is, round hole, square peg. And it didn't work. Well, what eventually you find out is time mastery class meets you where you are. So it forces you to write down what you're currently doing. And that is such a difference, because most classes tell you to write down your perfect day. What's your perfect day? What's your ideal day, right? I mean, literally there are classes called your ideal day, your perfect day. And you write that down, and then you're like supposed to do that. Well, that is such a stretch from what you're actually doing now that you can't bend that far. It's not the 1 degree tweak. It's like 1,000 degree tweak. So I think, Karla, you just really encapsulated the secret to the success for the class. And what you're teaching is you meet them where they are and force them to write down what they are doing, and then tweak it to the point where they're just doing it better. Maybe it's not quite your ideal. Maybe it's not quite your perfect day, right? I mean, 100% influential zone. I think that's impossible. I don't spend it that way, right? But it's one of those where maybe 50% is doable, So I absolutely love that. Did you see that, Tausha, in the class, that you seem to learn better because you started where you are versus starting with this vision of where you could be?
Yeah, and it gives you a lot of ahas too, of just where you need to go with your business too, because when you're looking at the day, I mean, there's several things that are on the daily plan. there's your goals, there's your action items, and then the score. So there's more to it than just writing down what you're doing. But one, recognizing that I was in the influential zone a lot more than I thought that I was. And it was kind of giving myself credit for the time that I was too. Like, we get to add up points. So back to the accountability thing, like, you get to add that up and give yourself a score. That's accountability for myself, I guess, because at the end of the day, I get to add that up, be proud of myself for something, or recognition.
What was your lowest score?
I actually did this while on vacation in DC. And so I had a few days where I only had like 20%, still made contacts with people.
All right. Now, vacation, you can have zeros. I'm just
I don't know. Apparently.
All right. What was your high score?
Like 87, I think.
Wow. No wonder they called you out. That's phenomenal. That is 87 is how many days did you have over 80?
A lot, because I'm very good at, like, I do a book group where I have 15 gals that I'm reading a book with. So there's times that you get to count as influential zone.
Yeah.
That it's personal time, but you're still,
you're still representing, right? You're still building That's the beautiful thing that I think a lot of people forget is you could be at a picnic with 8 people. That's still influential time, right? You're still in the influential zone, even though you don't even know you are. And that's an awareness that I think a lot of people get in time mastery classes. You may not be working, but you're always working. Your reputation always works in a relationship business. You're always building relationships. That's it.
Right. And that was a big thing for me, was the awareness of when I am out in the public, because that was something that was so conscientious all the time. Like, I'm thinking of this every day because it was the first thing I do in the morning when I get up and the last thing I did before I went to bed. So every day when I'm having conversations with people, I'm very conscious of what conversations should I be having so that I can count this as influential zone today,
Yeah. So what was your biggest awareness? Like, you had several epiphanies throughout this. Like, what did you feel like were one or two of the biggest ahas that you got, or biggest difference makers in your schedule?
So the white space, being able to, and putting that.
Oh, sure. Hit me over the head with white space. We were talking in the green room before this. I was talking about, we started this podcast 5 to 7, maybe even 12 minutes late. I don't know. But it was like, I was apologizing to them about, all right, this is kind of how it went. And it cascaded to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then 12 minutes late. And they both were like, sounds like you need a little more white space, which I do have after this, thank God. But they're right. They hit me over the head with it. So what is white space, Tausha? Just explain it to some of the people that maybe they don't know.
So instead of putting, back to back to back appointments on your calendar, having time throughout the day to account for those things that could come up that might take longer than what you anticipated.
Like bathroom breaks and lunch.
Yeah.
Right.
It goes on there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did.
Well, if you can schedule your bathroom breaks, you're better than me. I'm just throwing that out there. But if you're that regular, like my dog, he's got it down. Like, he knows when he's going, right? But it's like, yeah, I love that. Okay. So think about that. Time off and time out was one of your biggest ahas. That's profound to actually schedule it. So you've got this buffer to cover stuff, right? And Karla, what have you found when you discuss white space with a lot of people that is just a great awareness for them?
It's just a big aha for people. They're like, what? I don't have to schedule every minute of my day? And what, we can account for emergencies, or when a buyer and calls me and I have to react, and we account for those kind of things because life is going to happen and people don't plan for that. They want to schedule every minute of their day and then feel like a failure when they can't sleep.
Yeah, I think it builds, you hit it on the head. It builds in realism. Realism is life is going to happen. We want 100% proactive business, but we don't have that luxury in the real estate or even sales world. So if you're lending, and we get it, there's going to be some reactivity to it. And the white space kind of captures that that reactivity and gives you a buffer for things that just do happen. And somebody comes by and says, I want to pick your brain, right? Well, if you're good on your block, you can say, oh, you know what? I can't right now, but I could between 11 and noon, or I could between 4 and 5 p.m. or 3 to 4 p.m., whenever your white space is. And then boom, you've got this little place for that, possibility, opportunity. Who knows what it might be? But the other thing too is that's the problem that I see with a lot of people who teach this time blocking, is they teach people to literally block off every hour or every 15 minutes or every single part of their time. And it's unachievable. It's impossible to do that, especially in a sales, entrepreneurial, or real estate position. At least I believe it's impossible. So the white space gives us some grace. Yeah. If you want to call it gray space instead of white space, then have at it, right? Write that down, Karla. That's good. I just came up with it. All right. So, Tausha, what was another aha that you got from time mastery class and from taking control of your time versus kind of maybe being more reactive?
So one of my things that I'm most fearful of, we did a lot of like list making and stuff. So a big fear is making phone calls. And so one of our homework assignments was grading our database. And so I really liked how we broke it down into the people that gave us joy when we talked to them. Because that's really what it's about, is just having a conversation with them. We don't need to have an intention behind calling them. It's just checking on them, seeing how they're doing, and creating that relationship. So grading the database on who gives me joy.
Well, drop the mic. We just said that. It's so funny. I had an event mastermind this morning, and like we were going around, they were just sharing how, and I only do this for the people who implement. So they've done events. So that's who I had in. So everybody had done an event, and they were going around. The first person was like, well, I did an event and, so on and so forth. And then like, I got 8 referrals, and then, here's the other thing. And I go, wait a second, right? How many referrals had you gotten the first part of the year? Well, 0. It's like, you got 8 referrals in one day. Like, let's not break the celebration there. Like it's so, we've normalized referral getting almost to the point where, but it's like, you get a referral, you should celebrate. That's what we get with this whole, man, what if the only people I talked to were the people that gave me joy? How does every other lead generation work? Call angry people. They're expireds, right? They just failed to sell their home and went through all the frustration of maybe 100 showings, tramping through their house, mud, looking through their underwear drawer, and didn't sell. Like, call those people. No, right? For sell by owners, they already hate agents. You could call them. That's fun, right? Or there's people that say call everybody, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, these people are a little bit of curmudgeons, right? They're not very happy. They're whatever. What if we could just build our business around those who gave us joy? Now, you graded on joy. Like, what percentage of the people that you looked at would you say gave you joy? Like, basically,
I have a database of 900, so I'm not done grading, but just thinking about that, like when I'm starting to make my phone calls, and that it doesn't have to be this daunting task, and that it's just something so simple is more what I took from that I'm not as scared to make phone calls now. I don't know why that's such a scary thing.
Yeah.
Learning that in many of your classes. I'm not just the time master, it's all of your classes. I'm learning that.
Well, I think that's the big thing, right? Is you're calling people here, A, probably going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
B, they're going to be glad to hear from you. Don't call anybody else. If they're not going to be glad to hear from you, don't call them, because all we want is people glad to hear from us. Because if they're glad to hear from us, they're going to answer the phone more often, right? That's there's this other guy who's teaching about calling for referrals right now, like, basically out of desperation because the game has changed. And it's like, if you're calling for referrals, those people will never answer the phone again the second time, third time. You don't have to worry about calling them again because they'll never answer because you were so forward, so direct at asking for referrals that one time. Whereas if you're just calling for doing it, like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? How can I help? But like, what's going on in your life? What are you doing business-wise? What vacations are you going on? What hobbies are you doing? What are you passionate about? How are the kids doing? And you just build a relationship with them, then you know what? Those conversations are pretty easy. Yeah.
They actually gave us a lot of the stuff that they gave us to take home was very useful as well. To reasons to call was one of the papers that they gave us to use later on. So it's a lot of resources to use later because that's, I think, the scary thing. People don't know why to call. I do the events. So to me, that's the biggest reason to call is to invite them to an event. But
don't give away our secrets, Tausha. Don't. I mean, we've only done 360 podcasts on the reason to call your database as events, but don't tell anybody. We would never want them to understand. I just did a big mastermind and literally I like, if you boil down, I've coached 10,000 people and it's like, all right, what's your biggest challenge right now? And they're talking and the answer always boils down to two things. And the first answer is time blocking, time management. Whatever challenge you have not blocked off enough time for that challenge to solve it, right? Or you've had some time blocked, but you never focused on 100% to the point where you solved it, right? The second one is events, right? The answer is events. You want to recruit people to your team or to your brokerage, it's events. Do you want to build your sphere and get referrals? The answer is events. The answer is events for lead generation, in my opinion, and what we're seeing, especially as a answer for your sphere. And then it's like, all right, so you've got events scheduled. All right, so what's your biggest challenge now is all right, make sure I manage the time for the event, time blocking. It all boils down to time management. Time, if you can master time like Karla and Neil teach in time mastery, you're way ahead of the game. You're going to be able to conquer any challenge that you face. You have a teenage son who's 15, which is me, right? You're not getting along for some reason because he's in the middle of teenage angst and he's a boy and you're a man and there's some of that going on, right? What do you do, right? Maybe it's a time management thing. Maybe you need to spend some time alone with him, right? So we go off and we do a night in a hotel and we goof off and about 6 hours after he's off his phone and we're hanging out, we have a real conversation. 6 hours. Like that's time blocking a lot, but how much is the relationship with my son worth? It's priceless. So I'm going to spend, a day and a half with him with half of it being no phones. And that's what it takes, right? Right. I mean, it's one of if you've got a big problem, like spousal problem or kid right? It's like, maybe you got to block off more time for that, and figure it out. So I think that you guys really hit it on the head with how much this is a solution. You had something else to share, Tausha, on the time mastery class and your ahas and what you learned and that kind of thing.
I just had I had a lot of fun. They made it fun because this isn't a topic that most people think is fun. They made it something that we could enjoy learning about. So I don't remember what my other one was. I think it was just all of the take homes and then just really digging into our whys and, what are we doing this for? And the different stuff that's on the plan going into like our goals, the tactics behind why we're doing the things that we're like, what are our tactics throughout the day to be able to achieve those goals that we're doing, not just what are our goals. So it's just really thinking through those things each day too, and not just a list of what do we have to accomplish today? Because that was where I always was just a task list. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings up a great question. So, I mean, if I had to bottom line it, is how has your life or business changed by taking time mastery class? Like, how have you changed?
I'm doing a lot more one-on-ones, spending time, individually with people, getting to know them, and then implementing all this. I know I keep hollering back to all the other classes that you're doing. I'm not trying to do shout outs, but just implementing all of the things that I've learned from your book, just sending the note cards afterwards and thanking them and making it about them, asking them how they're doing, and not just, these awkward phone calls or awkward conversations. So it's not awkward anymore. I'm spending a lot more time in the influential zone than I knew I was, but even more so now.
So answer this, like fill in the blanks. Before time mastery, I felt blank. And after time mastery and since time mastery, I have felt blank, right? How did you feel before and how did you feel after? How would you compare those two feelings?
I would say before I felt kind of just chaotic, like there was no structure or order. And now I feel like I have peace and a plan.
Jeez. Like, do you have a mic? Like literally, like you just hit me in the heart with that answer. I mean, I founded Referco and we had a lot of things we could have sold, right? And we actually had a lot of people approach us about selling stuff to the Gen. And so, and I made the decision right then. We're only going to do life-changing events, life-changing classes, and life-changing training. And that's what we're going to do, right? And if we can take you from chaos to peace, I mean, we have achieved our goal. Yeah. I mean, that's impactful. That's emotional to me. I got chills when you said that. And that's the honest goodness truth. So, yeah. Well, and you did a great job of implementation, right? I mean, people ask me all the time, I want to be on Referrals podcast. We get emails all the time from PR companies too. It's like, we want to be on Referrals podcast. And people ask all the time, how do you get on Referrals podcast? Implement. That's all you have. Not implement and succeed. You could implement and fail and be on Referrals podcast, but we only have the doers. We've never implemented somebody who talked about a theory or was talking about what they might do or could do, or these big ideas about what the future may hold. We don't prognosticate, right? The only way to predict the future is to succeed today. That's it, right? What you do today predicts the future, right? Activities lead to results. So, I mean, you hit it on the head. Any final words of wisdom for somebody who's maybe listening or watching this, or anything else you want to add about your experience with RMA or time mastery class or any of the things in between?
Well, I would just say sign up for a month, because you'll end up continuing on accident just because it'll be so good you won't want to stop. But I signed up for RMS 2024, and I'm excited to get to meet Karla and Neil in person, because you do feel like after going through a class like that we met twice a week, and you get to know them personally. So I'm excited to get to know them or get to meet them in person. So excited to get to meet you in person in September, and anybody that is considering signing up, you definitely should. I don't know. I've done several different coaching things in my life, and again, this was something I planned on doing for a month, and I'm still here. So that speaks volumes.
Well, hopefully we keep you, because I like you. And when we do meet in Atlanta in September, I just want you to know that you will love Karla, you will like Neil, and you'll be sorely disappointed by me. So I'm shorter than you think, and I'm not as cool or as funny as some people think. So I'm not funny at all.
Well, you set the bar low, then
there you go.
Only be happy after, right?
That's right. So however low you want to set that, I will probably come in slightly lower than that. So it's all good. But no, I mean, I appreciate the heck out of that. And referralmasteryacademy.com right now is $47 for the first month. We never do specials. So that is in there for the May Day specials, and it's $47 at referralmasteryacademy.com. So you could sign up like Tausha and cancel after a month if you want. You could do that. Try us out, see if you like it. And if you do like it, then stay. We'd love to have you. So love that. And Karla, how about you? Anything to add? Any final words of wisdom from this experience and from what Tausha shared today?
Yeah, I think I think all of us, one time or another, we're going to struggle with time mastery. And if you've tried the things before and the different colors and the pretty papers and it didn't work, try this, because I do think it is so much different. And it's something I've been working on for 10 years, like hyper focused on it. And it's different because we give you personalized feedback. We look at what you've been doing. We give you ways to implement it differently. We allow you to have a life and not schedule every single day. It's just different. We really look at your actual, not your plan. And I think that's where it really comes into play. And we'll be there throughout, even after the class, we'll be there to help keep that habit going. And we have coaching programs as well that will keep it going. And give it a shot, sign up. You get 30 days of Neil and I. You can't go wrong with that.
So talk about the follow-up a little bit with your group coaching, Karla, that you do post time mastery and you do on a monthly basis.
Yeah. So we have a group coaching program, and once time mastery is done, we just go right into group coaching and we keep talking about time mastery. Because I've seen what happens is week 1, people throw up their hands and they're like, I have to fill out a sheet of paper and this is work. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Week 2, they're kind of like, well, it makes sense. Week 3, they start doing it more and more. And week 4, they're like, it's over. Like, I just started to create a habit. So we created this group coaching program that people can just go right into. And we meet every week for an hour, and it's accountability. It's personalized feedback. It's additional training on time mastery. And then, of course, through time mastery, you have to learn the other 7L systems. So we dive into the other 7L systems as well. And we just break everything down into bite-sized pieces to slowly start implementing, because there's so much to do all at once.
Yeah, lots of successes out of that group. And how would they get more information on that?
That's a great question. We will post the link below to our group coaching where they can just go online and sign up for it.
And I know you only have a few spots left, and maybe now that I just had this conversation, I'm worried that you don't have any spots left and I shouldn't have brought it up. But by your answer is like, oh, wait a second. Yeah. So yeah, otherwise she would been all over like intentionaldevelopment.com or callwithcoach.com or just get with Karla. So we will link that below and make sure that we've got some space available to help whoever needs it. And, Tausha, first of all, I just really want to acknowledge you for, first of all, I asked Neil and Karla, like, who are those, stars? Who are the rising stars? Who are the ones that are really implementing? Who can we profile that's really just doing it, And both of them literally replied within minutes with your name. And that, that says a lot, because, that doesn't that also instantly make you referable? You just got referred by 2 of the top coaches in our entire system within minutes. So just, I think everybody needs to realize that implementation makes you referable. Being in growth mode makes you, it takes humility to implement, especially somebody else's system. So I also want to acknowledge your vulnerability and transparency. Time mastery class is the most vulnerable class, because you're literally, here's my life on paper, and you're allowing, the public and the people to know about that. And I think that just says a lot about you and your character, and the fact that you were there in growth mode, and there's nothing more attractive than growth mode. So I just want to really, really acknowledge that and express my appreciation for you trusting the instructors in the class and the curriculum, and making changes. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, it was an honor to get the email asking me to be on here. It really was. My jaw dropped, but that was the one thing I didn't bring up and mention, that they actually pull our schedules up in front of everybody and give us suggestions and tips on what we can do different. And that is something different about the class, that you don't get that personalized feedback on any other time management type of class that you can take. And I actually appreciated that because if you can relate it to your actual life, it just makes more sense. And so it is being vulnerable, but at the same time, you can learn so much more that way. So thank you. It was an honor to be on here. And I really appreciate that I was able to be in this class for the last month. And I will join it again the next time because you can always learn more the second time.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And if somebody has a referral in your area, Tacoma, Washington, how can they best reach out to you?
My website's right on the link, taushabcrescentre.com. Or they can give me a call at 253-400-3508.
Awesome. And what areas do you work?
In Pierce County, King County. I'm located in Spanaway, Washington, greater Seattle area.
Awesome. Thank you. And Karla, I have to acknowledge you as well as you and Neil put on such a great class. And I think the most awesome thing that she said, it definitely was when she said she went from chaos to peace. I do want to, but when she said you guys made the class fun, when was the last time anyone went to a time management class and it was fun, not pulling teeth or pulling your hair out or wanting to stab your eyeballs out, right? So I mean, like I said, you and Neil are two of the top instructors in our entire program. And I just want to say thanks for being that person and caring that enough to just deliver the goods every single time we do time mastery class. So
yeah,
well, we love it. It feeds our souls. I know that. Just watching people transformation throughout the journey, and it's incredible to be a part of it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised you in the beginning that we literally were going to solve any challenge you had. And here we are at the end. You know the answer. The answer is time blocking. The answer is blocking the time to conquer that challenge and make it happen today. So I hope that you've had as good a time as I have on this podcast. Hopefully you've learned what it really boils down to. That is, time blocking is really life blocking, and it is the core to everything we do. You want a better life? Carve out a better time block. And I hope that you guys get enough from this and enough from the Referrals podcast to check out referralmasteryacademy.com. We are having that right now for $47 as an introductory rate. You can check it out, test drive it, see, and then in 30 days, cancel. No questions asked. There's no contract. Or if you like what you see, you like what you hear, stay, and it's a monthly program. So we'd love to have you. Check it out at referralmasteryacademy.com. For those of you that are brand new to this, listen, you're probably our kind of people if you've listened all the way through to this point. Join GenGen, JoinGen.com. Join the generosity generation today and join our global referral network. We'd love to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for another Referrals podcast. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. I love you. I appreciate you.